Hey everyone, this is Destiny Bensinger from Inner World Solutions. I am a certified alchemical hypnotherapist, certified past life regressionist, and somatic healer. My information for my email will be in the description. Feel free to subscribe and like if you enjoy this video. So today I'm doing a video on trauma bonding. It's become clear to me that a lot of us have either somebody that we know or ourselves that have gone through this experience. One of my good friends asked me if I could do a video on trauma bonding. You know who you are, so here we go. Trauma bonding is basically emotional abuse. And it ends up being disguised as something else because the person in the relationship who is really being abused doesn't see it as abuse. Because, for one, say that in childhood your caretaker, which could be your parent, could be anybody who took care of you that you were, bonded with, they basically were kind of abusive, and you ended up associating love in all these different ways. So say that they told you that you had to be good to get love. So that made you feel like you were bad. And then in this other relationship, you replay this out because you feel as though if I'm bad, I won't be deserving of love. So I must be good so that I'm deserving of this love. And the other person is constantly with these narcissistic patterns and with everything else reinforcing that because they are always trying to bait you basically and push you into being better, but they frame it as this whole situation where they say, like, I'm just trying to help make you better. I'm just trying to make you better so that you can be better for yourself, when realistically it's really, really an abusive pattern, and it's really unhealthy, and it's narcissistic because this other person can never do any wrong. And much like, certain relationships that move really quickly, you fall really fast. And in real love relationships, you tend to fall, but it burns a little bit slower as you get to know the real person. And in trauma bond relationships, it's really quick and it's fast and it's furious. So there's also a lot of things that you don't know about each other, and you kind of project onto each other this person that you think each other is in the beginning, and then later as that kind of unravels, you keep projecting that same image on that person, like, well, this is who he is though, so I'm gonna stay, or this is who she is, so I'm gonna stay because I know that they're this person, when realistically we're projecting our wants and desires and our perfect person and that blueprint of the things that we need from that person onto them, and really they're not that person. So another thing about trauma bonds is that because somebody's trapped in this cycle, they tend to overlook it. So they tend to overlook the fact that they're being abused. They also tend to hide it, not talk about it. They tend to act like it's not happening, which makes it a lot harder for them to identify the abuse. And when they're not talking to people that they love, and when they're really kind of pushing everyone out of their lives because, for one, that's what happens kind of from the other person because they don't want anyone to know what's happening. But it also happens from the person being abused because part of them feels really embarrassed about the constant fights, because that's another part of the trauma bond relationship, is that it's a constant up and down. It's very, very walking on eggshells. There's a fight, and the thing is that it's patterns of really intense fighting followed by interjection, of calm times here and there. So the calm times are what, after these huge fight, they have these calm times, and then they make up, and then they're so in love again. And until the next fight compounds onto that one. And that's another thing, is that in these trauma relationships, nothing's ever really dealt with because neither person knows how to deal with things correctly, and it's basically all defensiveness and all triggering. And so every fight just compounds on the last fight and makes it worse and worse and worse. I do have some notes because I wanted to make sure to give, a good video here. So, another thing is that a lot of people think that because they're not being physically abused, that it's not abuse. But if someone is name calling you constantly, if someone is putting you down, if someone is making you feel unworthy or less than, that is abuse. That is mental abuse. And mental abuse often wears out that other person to where they often say things like, I don't even have enough energy to leave. They kind of get so beaten down into the framework of the relationship that they think that basically this is the best that they're ever going to get. Some other things is that leading into that's why there's that attachment. There's a deep, deep sense of attachment with these trauma bonds relationships, where that's another reason why it doesn't appear that it's abusive, because yes, they're not talking to their family. Yes, they're not hanging out with friends, but they're saying it's because I want to. I want to be with him. Like, I don't want to leave for the night. I don't want to, do this or that. I just want to be with this person. So I can't leave. I can't come see family. I can't do that because, like, I just want to be with so and so. My next point is that okay, so my next point is basically going into how people can get out of trauma bond relationships. So getting out of a trauma bond relationship, once you realize what's happening, there are some steps about getting out of it. One of them is, after you're out of it, be in the moment. Don't continue to project yourself into, oh, what if I would have done this? Or, oh, maybe if he would have changed this little detail, or I would have changed this little detail, we could still be together. You can't go into that because it's not going to help you heal. And the next point is to really be in the moment, as far as making sure. So yes, I know that was the first point. So I got them a little bit mixed up. But be in the moment as far as making sure to take care of yourself. Think about you. Think about the things that you're needing, even as simple as, like, hey, I haven't listened to this music in a while. I have given up this or that I really used to love to do. Now I'm going to get back to doing that. Just finding yourself again. And so the first point about, which I said was be in the moment, is actually live in real time. So instead of, which is similar, instead of projecting into all these other moments that you could have changed, or going back and reliving this fight where you said this, or he said that, or she said this and you said this, it doesn't matter. Both of the things that you guys have said are now water under the bridge. It's time to really focus on yourself and doing all that you can to not go back to another relationship like that. And the third is self-care, which kind of ties into the second one. But really, like, being around that family again, and those friends again that you haven't been around, finding those relationships that make you really happy, reframing your life in a way that's, makes you happy to wake up the next day and to live it. And I think perhaps the biggest one is to understand your worth and to start journaling and writing a list of what you won't allow. Like, say for instance, you understand, I will not allow someone to make me unworthy. I will not sleep with someone who calls me names, who makes me feel less than, who, puts me down in any way. I will not accept less than what I'm worth. I will not be in a relationship that doesn't serve me. It could be other really simple things that only you'll know. But, then the last step is really going into your trauma and doing the work on where you started to feel unworthy in your life. Where are the moments in childhood or beyond where you felt unworthy and like all you were worth was what somebody else thought you were worth? Really going in and finding that is going to help you reframe your ideals, reframe who you are as a person so that you can look in the mirror and really know who you are instead of having all this trauma, affect your life and be wearing those trauma goggles and living your life from that world where you think that all you are is your trauma, when realistically all you are is everything aside from your trauma and your ability to get beyond that trauma. So essentially, things to remember about trauma bonds are basically like how you feel in a relationship. If you're in a relationship and it is so up and down that most of the time that things are good or right after a huge fight, or if you're with somebody who doesn't even make you feel like you can trust them, doesn't make you feel like maybe even that you love them, but you feel stuck, that feeling of feeling stuck or tired, those are really big signs that you are not happy. So I just want to take a second and tell everyone out there, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be supported and loved and to, find someone who knows your worth. So, and even if you don't find any other person that knows your worth romantically, you have friends, you have family, you have yourself to show you that. And you don't have to be with somebody who is just there to be with. You don't have to be with somebody just to be with somebody. You don't have to be with somebody just because you think that it's better to be with somebody than to be alone. A lot of trauma, bonds are built off of that codependency that we have to be with somebody else to be okay in the world. So that's another big, part of breaking that. And I, care about all of you, even though I don't know you. I know that sounds silly, but I do. So I hope that everyone watching this gets something out of this video. And to everyone who's in a relationship that they love, I'm so happy for you. To everyone who's in a relationship that could be better, you will get into a relationship with yourself that is better, and from there the world is open to you for so many opportunities. Love you all. Blessings. On to the next time.